Viewers, welcome back to the show. Before the break, we were talking about class actions, what the requirements are, and how you can opt in and opt out, and when you join a class action. John, there's been a lot of noise and a lot of stories in the media about Fiskville.
Yes, Tony, that's correct. The Fiskville, people that have been exposed by working at Fiskville, they will be entitled to join a class action. And they've suffered pain and suffering damages. A lot of people have died, so potentially there's dependency claims. There will be a class action.
And John, there'll be medical expenses, loss of income, that sort of thing as well?
Exactly, yes.
Pain and suffering, obviously.
Okay. Now, it's recently also there was an article where the pond that was full of contaminated water, they were fishing out eels and selling it to the markets.
Yeah, that just came out.
That sounds a bit far-fetched.
That just came out recently, Tony. So I think it's just another issue there that once the whole investigation has been wrapped up, it's going to be a mine of troubles for them, I think, unfortunately.
And John, they're going to investigate, but it sounds like there was knowledge on the part of CFA Command.
The documents are already showing, Tony, that's been released to the public, that CFA Command were aware of the dangers and the exposures at the site, at the Fiskville site, and nothing was done about it.
And the EPA has now ordered a cleaning up of the site,
Exactly.
which is going to cost over $16 million plus.
Exactly.
Okay. Look, let's go back to the bushfires. Nuncio, the case that did settle was Merseca and IPS Osnet.
Yeah.
What are the facts of that case?
Well, Tony, it was again, it's related to the Black Saturday bushfires, and these two lead plaintiffs, obviously led a class action against there was SB Osnet, Department of Sustainability and Environment, and Parks Victoria, obviously for their physical, psychological damage, property damage, and the like. And Tony settled for the settlement sum was basically 45% of $73 million. So I think that equated to, was it
Just $32
million.
Yeah,
So look, it was a large settlement. It's a really good judgment because it talks and explains the basis in which they've settled this case. And we didn't speak about it in the last break, but what's to note is that in any class action, it needs to be approved by the court. So, there may be a settlement on offer that the lead plaintiff may accept, but ultimately the court's got to approve that. And in this case, they did.
John, why would getting 45% of your loss be a good result?
Tony, in the end, and we all us litigators know that in litigation, in court proceedings, there is no guarantee of success. You could run a case and look, in literally anything can happen, can't it, Tony?
Exactly. I guess also, viewers, that something like this, you'd need a lot of expert evidence, and the cost of getting those reports would be very, very exorbitant and significant.
Look, and it's not only the cost, but the reality is this is a complicated litigation, and when you're talking about power lines and electrical companies and the like, there's no, I suppose, clear...
There's no guarantee.
There's no clear guarantee that there's a successful result, and in this case, the plaintiffs were alleging that obviously, there was a tree located next to the power line, and obviously when they fell onto it, that's all sparked the vegetation and the fires. But there was evidence led by the defendants that that wasn't the cause of it. So, as John said, there's no guarantees.
So, Nuncio, the plaintiff must prove on the balance of probabilities that as a result of the negligence or wrongdoing of the defendants in this matter, they have suffered damage.
Exactly. Look, in all, that's what they need to do. So.
John, the reality is this. Let's say your loss is $500,000. Just pick a figure out of the air.
Exactly.
With the nature of the litigation being so complicated and needing expert evidence, you'd find that if you litigated it on your own, you wouldn't be able to fund it. The cost of running the case would far outweigh any benefit you might get. So that's why 45% is a good result. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, look, and like I said, the judge went through all the different factors, one, in terms of the case itself, two, the costs, and, I think it seems fair and reasonable, which is what the court has to approve on. So.
And in the end, you always have to weigh up against one of the defendant's arguments, which invariably is that this is simply an act of God, that a bushfire is a bushfire. It occurs over the years. And as you know, we all know that a jury could actually come to that conclusion.
Well, it was judged by a judge alone, wasn't it, John?
In this instance, and usually it is. Usually it is.
No, it's two. If you had a jury, it'd be two. The trial would go forever. I mean, it slowed the proceeding down significantly.
Yes, exactly.
John, one of the things you have to do is register, but what's a claims book, Nuncio?
Yeah, look, Tony, that leads to, I suppose, two things. There's two things that the plaintiffs need to do once settlement was reached in this case. And one was register, obviously for the settlement, the fact that they're part of the class action. But most importantly, prepare what's called a claims book, where effectively they have to put their claim on paper, provide supporting documentation as to their losses resulting from, from this loss. So that's what's required now that liability or settlement has been reached.
So they had to itemise each and every loss they had.
Yeah, property damage, physical damage, whatever it is, and they've got to provide documentation to that effect.
So far, we've talked about what appears to be successful class action litigation. There was a loss recently, a big one, in the Vioxx case. What happened there, John?
A law firm lost a Vioxx class action, Tony. This was a disaster for the claimants, wasn't it, Tony?
It was a disaster, plus, not to mention significant court costs. And I'd imagine that...
what are we looking cost-wise, Tony? How much do you think they've lost out of this?
Well, they've
Millions.
probably dropped over $10 million, if not more. And that would be their bare costs. But if they had succeeded, their real profit would have been probably twice that.
Oh,
Is
at
that a fair
least.
comment, John?
Yeah, at least $20 to $30 million. This is a situation where it was a class action, but claimants alleging that Vioxx adversely affected them went to the full court of the Federal Court of Australia. It was found that there was no negligence, there was no case, and I understand, Tony, leave was not granted to appeal to the High Court.
Exactly, exactly. We've got to finish off. At the moment, the big class action is the King Lake fire.
Yes.
That's been going for a long time, hasn't it, Nons?
It has, and it's just really the start of it, Tony. Look, they've set up its own courtroom in the city. That's how big it is, and it's going to be. There's over 10,000, I think,
10,500
to the class action. Look, it's going to be an ongoing issue, and it's going to be in the news for a long time. So we'll keep reporting on that. And
John, seeing it's of such public interest, this is something that we should get some feedback on Facebook and Twitter, also on the internet, don't you think?
Exactly, Tony.
So we encourage the viewers to...
We want your response, viewers.
Is there anything else you want to add, John?
Oh, look, Tony, in regards to the bushfire litigation, it's a minefield, isn't it, Tony?
It is, it is.
It's we've got QCs, there's about 20 QCs involved in this case. A lot of them are acting on no-win, no-fee basis. So they're taking a big punt.
They're taking a big punt, yes. Nunc, anything else you want to add?
Just for the viewers, I said if you think you've been injured by reason of something that's similar to a class action, look, do call the law firm because you need to look into your rights. It's very important.
John, Nuncio, thanks for coming on board tonight. Viewers, thanks for watching. Watch this episode and other episodes on the website. Stay tuned for future episodes and always remember to stay safe.